G'day, Aussie Arcanist here. Wizardly Wanderer, Multiverse Magus, frequent flyer in the astral plane, and a true blue denizen of Down Under. I make videos about all things arcane, archaic, and artifactual, and I will impart to you the lore, legends, and lessons from countless expeditions across the many worlds. Maybe you want to know how to fight an illithid from the far realms, perhaps thwart the petrifying gaze of a basilisk, or as the case may be for this video, surviving an encounter with the horrifying humanoid hyenas, the Gnoll. No worries, this Antipodean archwizard is here to help. Put on your Ugg boots, grab a chip sandwich, and pull up a stump, because we're going to get into it. Efficient and savage hunters, Gnoll's origins are demonic in nature, created in the wake of the ravaging rampage of the Beast of Butchery, the demon prince Yeenoghu. Gnolls were born of the hyenas that fed on the carrion and demonic energies left in Yeenoghu's path of destruction, his essence creating the hyena-human hybrids, every bit as savage and rampant as their creator. Yeenoghu was banished back to the abyss, leaving his ravenous progeny to disperse across the material plane, still worshipping their ruler of ruin and performing ritual murder and consumption of kills in his honor. Gnolls that perform demonic rituals to their demon god are rewarded with signs and omens, and the favored with greater powers and fervor to continue sowing more and more destruction in an unending hunger for fresh, terrified victims. I would dare not ask you to imagine it, but assume Gnolls guiltlessly perform the worst abuses of terror and destruction, those vile acts only empowering and kindling their desire for greater devastation as they devour vulnerable civilized communities. Adult Gnolls stand just under 2.5 meters. Their lean bodies weigh in at around 140 kilograms. Their skin is predominantly green-grey in tone, and they have short hair that covers their entire bodies with a mane-like crest of fur across their heads and upper backs, usually mottled with browns and greys. Some have been seen with red and yellow crests, and when enraged, these crests rankle and puff out, giving them a menacing hunch as they stalk into battle. Males and females are virtually indistinguishable from one another, hunting and raiding together equally. Only the pregnant or nursing females may be obvious enough to the casual observer. A Gnoll's nature is that of pure feral instincts and insatiable hunger, a primal bloodlust that is seemingly unquenchable. They cannot and will not be civilized. They relish living in the wilds, actively despising towns and structured dwellings. Strong blood ties through maternal lines matter far more than a roof over their heads. Gnolls have strong loyalty within their bloodlines, and though vicious and cruel to their foes, they maintain firm bonds to family. Roaming the worlds they inhabit in large family-aligned packs, often called a cackle, they will range where the bloodlust takes them, and where the feeding is good. Gnolls tend to favor warmer climates and open plains. They are nomadic, and while they may make camps and hold certain areas as home territory, they are never tied to a location for long, and will move on for fresh hunting grounds and new conquests. Gnoll families will never combine territories with other packs, and unless under the control of their demon prince, they will never ally with any organized group or race. Gnolls are considered savage and brutal, even to the races of equivalent, violent, and evil natures. A Gnoll pack would rather consume and sacrifice potential allies than fight alongside them. Of all the evil things they do, Gnolls have a special reputation for being exceptional slavers, well known for breaking spirits with effective torture, so this can tie them to a specific trade run and a region with a larger population, as they trade in lives in a more industrious capacity. When it comes to surviving a Gnoll attack, you must always think in terms of numbers. It will be a rare encounter that you come across just 1 or 2 Gnolls. You'd be lucky to fight just a handful. Gnolls commonly travel in raiding parties and live for the complete destruction and consumption of their prey. When we talk about surviving a Gnoll attack, we are always considering a defensive action. Whether it's out in the wilds or protecting a town against an oncoming raid, you must expect high numbers of the beasts to appear. Gnolls are malicious marauders, and will often hope to make a surprise raid, sometimes using a stealthy snatch and grab infiltration to net initial victims, building strength before a full force attack, or they guilefully set ambushes and make strike and fade attacks to weaken a town's forces on its outskirts. If your region is beset by Gnolls, your best option is fortifying and readying the population, presenting a solid front and an insurmountable resistance. To protect a population, you will need to pull them into a defensible position, hopefully to a keep or well-built temple. The loss of outlying homes and crops to the Gnolls' wanton destruction is inevitable, but at least the people will be safe. When facing them, you'll find most Gnolls to be weakly armored and poorly armed. They scavenge most of their weapons and armor, and barely maintain equipment to functional levels. One-on-one, a well-trained fighter will overcome a single Gnoll marauder, but in packs they become formidable. Most use spears and bows, so have reach advantage in melee engagements, and will not hesitate to push that advantage and lean in for a bite attack, so watch their chompers. A group of adventurers equipped with spears, halberds and shields can form an effective phalanx formation. Offensive magical artillery should be considered, with well-placed fireballs, chain lightning, and protection wards. And to that end, magic users could be best used in preparation for attacks, with their ability to rapidly mold earth and form stone ramparts, spike traps and pike walls, easily aiding in the creation of makeshift defensive lines. In the field of battle, look for the Gnoll Pack Lord. He will be distinguishable by his size, extensive piercings of rank, and demonic symbols painted or cut into his body. Focusing attacks on killing this Gnoll Lord may disrupt the morale of his underlings. It may not halt the attack, but it will diminish their effectiveness and may help turn the tide and shorten the raid, preventing greater destruction and loss of life. Should you find yourself facing a demonically possessed Gnoll, known as the Fang of Yeenoghu, don't panic. It is one of the strongest Gnolls you will face, but even if you're a relatively young fighter, you have a good chance of victory, though a paladin or cleric may have the better outcome when facing this possessed fiend. Use of the abjuration spell Protection from Good and Evil will work well against this fiend. A stronger use of the Dispel Evil and Good spell may force the demonic influence out of the Gnoll, exercising its source of power, making it easier to destroy. To seek and destroy Gnolls in the wilds may be a tough duty, though tracking them back to their camps and then organising your own raids with cavalry strikes and heavy ranged volleys would be a top-notch tactic. Be aware that Gnolls do take prisoners as slaves and sacrificial feedings, so laying complete waste to a pack with confidence of low allied casualties may require careful scouting. To conclude, should you find yourself tangling with these hooligan hyena people, keep your guard up, your weapons sharp, and your favour strong in the eyes of your deity. Gnolls are merciless butchers, and the less of them on any world, the better. They are a cancer and their lingering demonic taint must be scoured from existence. Feel no guilt, kill them all. And on that lovely note, have you got any Gnoll war stories? How did you deal with these cackling chaotic carnivores? Let me know in the comments. And it'd be bloody amazing to make more content while I travel the multiverse. If you want to see more, like this video, and please consider subscribing. I wish you happiness and safe travels to you and yours, from me and mine. This has been Aussie Arcanist. Cheers.